This is my house.
Hey.
Shut up, Baldy.
No, hey.
He went somewhere to do laundry, I think, and so he gets real stupid at night. And
hold on just a second, okay?
Stop.
We're arresting her for obstruction.
What?
You're on arrest for obstruction.
No, I'm not.
Sam, don't do it.
All right, y'all, today we are stepping into one of the toughest calls any officer can get. A domestic situation with a child at the center of it. The only thing heavier than a violence call is a violence call where a 12-year-old is the one reaching out for help. That tells you right away something inside that home feels unsafe enough that a kid is willing to bring police to the door. And this is why these videos matter right now. Across the country, departments are tightening domestic violence response protocols with a bigger focus on de-escalation and child protection. Not because it is trendy, because the stakes are real. Officers walk into a family dynamic they do not control with emotions already boiling, and they have to sort truth from noise fast while still treating everybody like a human. In this one, I'm watching for the same things you are. Who is cooperating, who is resisting, and how the officers manage that pressure without losing sight of the kid. This is the kind of scene where one wrong move can change everything. If you want more real-time officer perspective reactions like this, hit subscribe and stick with me. We are going in.
I'm not asking him to come in. We gotta call.
Bye.
No, that's not how this is gonna work.
Oh, you want to see how it works?
Yeah, go ahead. We got a call about a domestic. About a 12.
You don't domestic here.
Well, the thing is we have to check it out.
I don't care.
Okay. Well, I'll talk to Patrick then.
Go inside. I got a call about a domestic. You can stand out there all you want.
Well, I'm waiting for my partner, and then we're coming inside.
No answer.
Oh no, she already came out and screamed at me and said we better get a warrant. And I was just waiting for somebody because she's gonna be Sam's drunk, Patrick's drunk, and we're not coming in the house. So I was waiting for her.
911, female's refusing to answer the door. Do you still have a 12-year-old on the phone?
She's locked us out, and I'm not gonna pick the fight with her. So.
Does the 12-year-old feel safe enough to come out to us? Otherwise, we're gonna have to force entry. Open the door, we'll break it down.
You got a warrant?
We have to check the well-being of a 12-year-old.
Bust my door down, and I'm gonna do your ass. You're yelling now. Now go on.
The 12-year-old needs to come talk to me, or we will break it down.
Bye. You ain't got a warrant.
So they're not gonna let him come down. They can hear her screaming on the phone.
911 advise you if I need to force entry. The 12-year-old has me.
Oh, we got him. He's out the bed.
Oh yeah. So Patrick is stupid and drunk every night, and he tries to pick somebody at the front door. He tries to pick fight. That's him. He tries to pick.
Get your ass in the fucking house.
Nope. Get away.
You can shut the fuck up. This is my house.
Hey.
Shut up, Baldy.
No, hey. I don't have no
These two
problem.
started it with my husband.
Okay, that's fine.
Both of them.
I'll talk to you too.
So what's going on?
So he gets drunk and
Here,
stupid.
walk a little further with me.
And he gets drunk and stupid, and he
Okay.
tries to argue with everyone. And he was arguing with my mom. I don't know why, but she went with
Your mom is Carly, right?
so she went somewhere. She went somewhere to do laundry, I think, and so he gets real stupid at night. And
Hold on just a second, okay?
Stop. Stop. I want to tell you what's happening.
Stop, pull away from me.
They
You have the chance.
stopped him first.
You're going in
Samantha.
handcuffs right now.
Samantha.
You understand that?
They're going.
Roll
Samantha.
over.
They
Samantha.
stopped her. Started
Samantha.
it.
Calm down. Take a breath.
Roll over.
Calm down. We
Roll
can talk.
over.
Shut up.
You gonna be calm? You gonna be calm?
Yeah.
What?
All right. Stay calm. We'll be calm as long as you are.
Mike,
Stay seated. Just stay seated. Just stay there.
they started it with him.
I'm not doubting that.
Can I stand up?
I'd rather you stay seated. Come sit in your chair. Okay?
Okay.
Sit in your chair.
Man that door standoff is exactly how these calls turn into a full-blown crisis in seconds. When a parent blocks access and dares cops to force entry, it is not just attitude. It is a child welfare red flag, because the one person who is supposed to protect the kid is now controlling the information flow. Here's the bigger picture people miss. A 12-year-old calling 911 is rare, and it is usually a last resort. In a lot of domestic violence cases, the non-abuser is terrified, and the abuser is the one running the house. So officers have to treat that screaming and that isolation like a potential safety emergency, not a simple refusal. And nationwide departments are pushing harder on child protection and domestics right now for this exact reason. If the kid is trapped inside and you wait too long, you can be waiting on a tragedy. Then the moment the child appears out back, you feel the air change. Now it is about separating stories fast and keeping that kid safe.
What you were?
Okay, so my mom was walking out the door with laundry and my baby brother.
Okay.
And then once she got outside, me and Caden, my uncle, were trying to like hold him back from the door. So he went like, because he gets real close to the personal. So
Patrick
after
does? Patrick?
Okay. So we got him away and we wait by his bedroom door so he doesn't do anything stupid because he'll just randomly start yelling at people. And then he got too close to me and started pushing me against the wall. So I got mad and I tackled him onto the couch. And he wouldn't let me get up, so he grabbed my hair and tried to pull me. So I started punching him a lot, and he got like right there, and then he let go. So I backed away. And then he did it again. So I had a cup of tea in my hand. I slammed him to his head, and he brought me down to the couch again. And I put my hand on his neck to push up to get away, and I did. And then the second time, my grandma was in the bathroom the entire time, and she thought that I attacked him first when it didn't. Okay. Caden saw everything, and then the third time he attacked me, we both got to the floor, and everyone saw it, but she also thinks I attacked him first, and then I started punching at him again until he let go, and then I called you.
Okay.
We gotta get this resolved, and you guys are going about it all wrong, okay?
I was in the bathroom. All I heard was the boys attacking him, and I came out. I pulled both the boys off. That's all I know.
Teenage boys?
Him and Kagan.
So you don't know what started it?
I really don't.
You came out and they were
I was in the bathroom.
all three of them were in a
I
fight?
was in the bathroom going pee.
That's Patrick and the two boys?
That's all I know. I heard it in the living room, and I came out of the bathroom, and both boys were on top of him.
So you don't know what started it though?
I really
Has
don't.
there been anything going on prior to you going to the bathroom? Any argument? Anything
No.
like that? Any
Me and
disagreement?
Patrick were sitting on the couch
Okay.
watching TV. I don't know.
I have nothing to say because the whole thing.
Nope, that's
That's my mom and that's my stepfather.
stepdad. Okay. All right. What happened tonight, Caden?
Okay, so first, he was arguing with Carly.
Who's he? Pat?
Patrick.
Okay.
Patrick was arguing with my sister Carly, and I tried to calm him down so they don't get into a fight. And he told me to go to bed like he always does every night. And so he starts to push me in the bedroom, and I start to push him back. Skip forward a few hours, and then my mom goes into the bathroom, and then he puts his hands on Kagan, and then I try to get him off of Kagan, and then Kagan starts to push him back, to get him off of him.
And do you know what that argument started about with?
With him and Patrick?
Yeah.
He just touched Kagan, that's all. Like, touched his shirt, like, grabbed it.
He grabbed Kagan's shirt. Were they arguing? And then he grabbed the shirt, or what? Why did he grab the shirt?
Because they were in an argument.
Okay. When he pushed you, what happened?
I pushed him back.
Okay. Can you flip your hair up? Look like you got your eyes, or this eye looks a little black or something. Is that old or new, or did you get struck at any point? Or?
I don't know.
Okay.
You know this ain't the right way to handle things. Why'd you gotta escalate to this?
Because he's not at fault.
We don't know that or not.
But you guys automatically arrested him.
Because the way you guys didn't answer the door and kept the kid.
I didn't keep him in there. I didn't keep them in there. The boys were in the bedroom.
And Sam, we know how you guys get when you guys get drinking. Okay? So it's just for everybody's safety that we just detain them until we figure out what's going on. So what happened to you? You got some bruises on you and some scrapes.
Where?
Well, you got scrape down here under your arm.
Oh, that's from my dogs.
So you didn't get in the middle of that?
I pulled the boys off of him, but
Okay.
no, those are from my dogs.
So this all started just because he was drinking and then he was okay.
He's attacked my mom a few times in the past. So.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have another family member you guys can go with tonight?
No. My mom hasn't done anything. It's just him. Every night he gets drunk and then just starts.
Your mom
arguments.
hasn't been drinking today?
And then the interviews start, and you can feel how ugly this house feels, even through a camera. What hits me is the pattern. Multiple kids describing the same theme: drinking, then random rage, then hands on people. That is classic domestic chaos where the whole family learns to manage the adult instead of living like normal kids. And when you hear them talk about holding him back from doors and guarding a bedroom like it is a containment plan, that tells me this is not a one-time argument. From the officer side, this is the hardest part to do clean. You are sorting stories from minors who are emotional and might have fought back. You have a mom minimizing. You have a stepdad clammed up. And you still have to make a call that keeps everyone alive tonight. These cases are why departments have been tightening DV response and child protection training lately. The risk is not just bruises, it is escalation.
Yeah, but she doesn't get drunk, though.
Okay.
Not like he does.
Okay.
Because he argues with people over stupid stuff.
Right. Okay, so whenever, was your mom around either of the times that?
No. Well, she was around. She was in the kitchen making supper the first time, and then she came in and split us up. The second time she was in the bathroom, and then she came out and split us up again. So,
But she wasn't around when it started, just for the end of it?
no, not the end of it. Well, yeah.
She was around the end of it, not the start of it, but both times?
Yeah.
Okay.
So she hasn't done anything wrong. It's just Patrick.
Okay. And you feel safe with her taking care of you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Patrick started it.
Yeah, that's what
And,
he said.
yeah.
2 different deals. One with
Yeah,
him earlier
he
today
said
and one with him just now.
Him first. He witnessed everything that happened with him. Patrick was getting in his face.
He said Patrick like grabbed his shirt or something and then they started he was shoving him up against the wall. push kick.
And then he said he pushed him back off of him. Well, then Patrick threw him on the couch, and he said he did punch Patrick a few times trying to get him off
didn't
of
have anything
him.
to say to me, so
Okay.
makes it easy. We'll charge
yeah,
you.
so
Your
he
counsel
was-
domestic. Sam, you can't interfere with me when I'm doing my job. You're lucky you're not going to jail right now. If you'd have taken one more step, you'd be going to jail right now. I have a job to do. We get called from 911 that a 12-year-old is here and has been battered. We have to investigate that.
He didn't do anything though.
We have 2 different incidents where he's the aggressor, and you weren't present for the start of either of those incidents from the witness statements. He's going to be charged with 2 counts of domestic battery.
He didn't do anything.
I have witness
I
statements
pulled the boys off of
after
him.
the fact. You were not present for the start of either of the incidents.
That's what you told me. You were in the bathroom.
You were
I
not
went
present
to the bathroom
You were not
to
present
go
for the
to the
start of.
bathroom.
I understand that. You weren't present when the incident started. Either of the incidents started from both witness statements and your own statements. So you don't know what started it. You can't say what started it.
I ain't
He
pressing
started it.
charges.
He started it according to both.
No,
Juveniles.
he did not. He was sitting on the couch.
Okay, I'm not going to argue with you. You weren't present when it started, so you don't know the answer to that question.
I'm not gonna argue with you either.
Perfect.
It's just
Okay. He's going to be charged with 2 counts of domestic battery. Carly's been advised of the situation. They both advised they feel safe staying with you. So we're 10-8. We're leaving. Do you have any questions?
I'm dropping charges, right?
You can't.
The boys will.
The state will pursue domestic
State
battery.
can't.
Yes, they can. The domestic
No,
battery
they can't.
situation.
All right.
Okay.
It's not worth arguing, Sam.
I'm just saying.
All
Last time
You,
he got
you could go
arrested
Monday and
for
talk to the
this-
state's attorney and see what they can do for you, okay?
Last time he was arrested, they dropped the charges.
Okay. And that's something you guys can work out Monday or Tuesday when you go up to the courthouse, okay? All right, take care.
So actually, we're going to arrest her for obstruction. We're arresting her for obstruction.
What?
You're on arrest for obstruction.
No, I'm not.
Sam, don't do it.
Now we're going to be resisting too.
I didn't do anything.
Don't add resisting.
God damn, I didn't do anything.
Don't add resisting, Sam. Don't
I
add
didn't
resisting.
do it.
This is where it stops being just a family argument and turns into real consequences in real time. What I'm watching is the exact pressure point in modern DV work. Officers are not just taking a report, they are making a safety decision while the adults are actively trying to steer the narrative. And the hard truth is this: kids do not call 911 on a parent figure unless the house has taught them that nobody inside is going to stop it. You can also see that nationwide shift in DV response playing out. A lot of agencies are pushing officers to lean on corroboration and separate statements, not whoever is loudest at the doorway. Because historically these cases get talked down, and then the next call is worse. And that obstruction arrest, that is the system saying you do not get to block an abuse investigation just because it is your household.
For obstruction.
What?
You're on arrest for obstruction.
No, I'm not.
Sam, don't do it.
Now we're going to be resisting too.
I didn't do anything.
Don't add resisting.
God damn, I didn't do anything.
Don't add resisting, Sam. Don't
I
add
didn't
resisting.
do
Stand up.
anything.
Stand up.
I
Hold on,
didn't do
you're hooked-
anything.
you're
I was
hooked on
just
my-
telling you.
You're hooked on my hair. Hold on. Your hair's hooked on my...
I didn't do anything. Boys,
Stop.
tell him I didn't do anything.
Quit pulling. We'll get you got your.
I didn't do anything. I wasn't obstructing. I was sitting in the
Stand
You know, you
chair.
tried to
You
run inside.
obstructed
That's not
earlier.
good. Sam, stop.
You obstructed
Just stop.
earlier.
Just get your citation.
And
Go to
now
court.
you're resisting.
Can I get a citation and go back inside?
Yeah.
You're getting
Huh?
resisting also. Obstruction and resisting.
Quit resisting and see what we can get done. You're making this
wasn't
difficult.
doing
You're making this
anything.
more difficult than it needs to be, Sam. Just
I
stop.
was
Just
going
stop.
inside.
Stop.
You're not thinking logically.
Mike, please.
Well,
Oh, Carly.
just stop.
Tell her she gotta come get the child. Who do you want to care for your child?
Would you guys please? I'm not doing
Who do you want to
anything.
care for your child?
Why am I
Contact
obstructing?
You obstructed whenever I was detaining Patrick earlier.
That was earlier. I was
Yep.
telling you what was going on.
No,
the
you
boys.
weren't. I told you to get back and you weren't listeting.
I was sitting in the chair.
and then you resisted when they tried to get you away from me. That's
No.
obstructing.
No.
And you're resisted again.
Mike, please.
No, there's nothing I can do, Sam. You did this.
I didn't do it. Please, guys, please, Mike, please. I was sitting in the chair.
Hey, go get your...
Stand up.
Sam, stop
Stand
this.
up.
I don't want to go to jail.
You're gonna take you
I'm
up there.
scared.
You'll get a ticket. And
I'm
come
scared.
Home. All right.
No,
go
you're
up there.
not.
They'll
Mike,
process
you're
you
lying.
and they'll bring you home.
No, he's not. You're not. It's not a detainable offense with the Safety Act. You're going to be transported to jail. You're going to get your citations issued. You'll be processed, and then you'll be released. Obstructing
But
and resisting.
You while you're acting like this, so you're gonna make it take longer. You are. Calm down.
I am. I was sitting in the chair talking to you.
And then you tried to run away when you were told you were under arrest.
Why would I be under arrest? I didn't do
obstructing.
anything.
You can't roll around the front yard with cops when they tell you to do something and fight them.
That was earlier. Mike and him came and talked to me.
Sam, just get in the car, go up there, get a process, and come home.
It's going to be easier.
I didn't do anything.
Stand up and step your feet in first. It's going to be easier for you to get in. You're going to have a hard time getting in if you don't get 1 foot in first.
Why would you guys do this?
You did it. I instructed you several times to get back when I was detaining Patrick.
I was sitting in the chair.
You came towards me, poked me with your finger, and
I did not.
interfered with my investigation.
I
which
was
is
sitting in the
obstruction.
chair talking to Mike and that guy.
Okay, we're going to get in. Get in.
Can I get out tonight?
You will be out tonight, as long as you cooperate with jail staff. You'll be processed, issued some citations, and then released when the jail has time to process you.
Okay.
I'm going to be honest. Watching the mom get put in cuffs right here is one of those endings that feels ugly, even when it makes sense. Because on the surface, this looks like chaos over nothing. She's crying. She's saying she didn't do anything. She's insisting she was just sitting there. And I get why that hits people the wrong way. The hard part is I'm also watching officers deal with a person who will not accept any boundary at all. Not verbal, not physical, not procedural. Every instruction turns into an argument. Every attempt to move her turns into her twisting the moment into a debate. And that right there is how a domestic call stays dangerous even after the main event seems over. What stands out to me is how fast the focus shifts from the stepfather to containment of the scene. That's not officers getting distracted. That's officers realizing the environment itself is now the threat. When somebody keeps inserting themselves into detentions, pulling away, trying to recontrol where this is going, it forces the officers to spend their attention on crowd control instead of fact-finding. And in a case that starts with a kid dialing 911, attention is everything. If the officers lose control of the adults, they lose the ability to protect the child. It's that simple. And you can hear it in how they talk. They keep trying to give her the off-ramp. Cooperate, stand up, stop pulling. Get processed, and you'll be back. They're not selling it like a punishment. They're selling it like the fastest way to get this house stabilized so the kid has an actual plan for the next few hours. That's a big piece people miss. DV scenes are logistics under stress. Who takes the child? Where does everyone sleep tonight? Who is legally allowed to be where? Who is still emotionally volatile? Officers are managing all of that while someone is fighting the basic concept of compliance. Now look, I'm not going to pretend this is pleasant. The physical handling is hard to watch. Hair gets caught, bodies are moving, everybody's talking at once. This is exactly the kind of clip that gets chopped into a 10-second outrage post. But in real time, the officers are dealing with active resistance that keeps restarting. She's not just upset. She's repeatedly trying to break the process by pulling away and relitigating the stop. The longer that goes, the longer everyone is in the driveway, exposed, distracted, and one emotional spike away from something worse. Here's the bigger implication for me. When a child calls for help, the adults around that child are being tested in real time, not by a court later, by the moment. And in this moment, the mom's priority is not, how do we make sure my kid is safe and calm? Her priority is, you can't do this to me. That may be human, that may be fear, but it's also a signal that the kid's needs are not steering the ship in that house. The officers have to steer it for them. It also shows why departments have been tightening domestic violence response over the last couple years. There's a push nationwide to treat these scenes like high risk, even when they look calm, because the flip is instant. 1 minute it's talking. Next minute it's resistance. Next minute it's a parent trying to physically prevent an investigation. And once you're in that spiral, you either reassert control or you retreat and hope nothing bad happens after you leave. These officers are clearly not choosing the hope option. Going forward, I think the takeaway is accountability is not just for the abuser, it's for the gatekeepers too. The people who decide what gets hidden, what gets minimized, what gets blamed on the kid, what gets turned into misunderstanding. When law enforcement draws a line on obstruction, it's a message that the system is watching the whole ecosystem around the child, not just the one person everyone wants to point at. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Was this necessary to regain control, or did it go too far for you? And if you want another one that hits that same nerve of child safety, forcing adults into consequences, I've got a video on the channel where a very small kid, wandering alone, ends up leading officers straight to a parent who has no business being that checked out. That one will have you shaking your head for a different reason.